So South Africa take on Bangladesh in a three-match ODI series that a lot of us are looking forward to because it's a full-strength squad, a full-strength team that will be taking on Bangladesh, and we're looking forward to racking some points up. It's very important that we do rack some points up, and also we know that these players have a mentality at the moment of wanting to win 3-0. They want to be clinical, they want to be ruthless, they want to dominate Bangladesh, but they know it's not going to be an easy task. That's at least what we are picking up from the different interviews that we've had come out recently before this particular series. So we will be chatting about the series. We'll be talking about what sort of lineups we would like to see, who we'd like to see get an opportunity. If it is just a straightforward look at the 11 and we're just going to decide that that's the case and we're all going to agree, then that will be the case. But we'll also like to know what you guys say in the comment section, who you think should start, all of those type of things. We will chat a little bit about the Proteas women as well, who are playing against New Zealand. We'll also have a conversation a little bit about the One Day Cup. There's been some interesting performances today. So we will be discussing that as well. So before we get going, before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to smash that notification bell as well for all future videos, because that's how you'll keep up to date with everything that we do have on this channel. It's very important that you guys do so. But smash that like button too. Get involved with that and comment and share. But also don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. So go ahead and do so right away. If you guys want to get involved with the Patron account, go ahead, become a patron today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And you can help us grow and obviously produce better content. Maybe we can get a studio one day. That will be in your hands, guys, all in your hands. So form part of that, please, and become a patron today. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's video. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid. I'm here with Aditya. I'm here with Justin. And today we are going to be discussing the Bangladesh series, the ODI series particularly, because that's what's coming up first, guys. So the first match will be on Friday. So we're looking forward to doing that. We're looking forward to seeing what's going to be going down over there, how they're going to approach this, what players are going to be starting. We'll get a good feeling and a good understanding. We know the Proteas aren't available for the One Day Cup currently happening. So they are preparing, obviously, for this particular opening game. So let's get started. Let's get into this discussion. I think the first thing that we always do is we probably go for the for the squad first. So let's have a look at the squad. We're going with Temba Bavuma as captain, Yanaman Malan, Quinton de Kock, Zubair Hamza, Cal Verreina, Aiden Markram, David Miller, Rassie van der Dussen. All-rounders in Dwayne Pretorius, Antile Pechukwayo, Marco Jansen, Wayne Barnell. Seamers in Lungingidi, Kagiso Rabada, and Tabray Shamji and Keshav Maharaj as vice-captain. Those are our spinners. So a good squad, a full-strength squad. Let's start with that starting 11. I think that it should be pretty straightforward, Aditya. Let's start with you. We should basically just see a straight Yanaman, Quinton, Temba type of top three, probably. I think that's where we can maybe start with. I think that's going to determine the solid foundation. That's the important part of every single team. You can see in the One Day Cup, top threes are falling apart and teams are falling apart. So as a result, so it's very important that we get that top three. Welcome to the show, Werner, as well. It's very important, of course, that we find a way to get settled top threes. So let's start with the top three. Let's get all of your guys' thoughts. Who would your top three be? And then we'll work our way down the order and discuss the rest of the positions.
The top three picks itself. Yanama Milan, Quinton de Kock, and Temba Bavuma.
Justin and Werner.
First of all, good evening and good morning to the different parts of the world. It's good to be back for after a long time off. Just quickly, I think we can all agree that the top three is going to basically be the same. I don't think anyone can expect it to be different unless injuries or something has happened that we're not aware of. But we're expecting the same top three.
Agreed.
Simple, sweet, as Werner always is. Hey, simple, short, sweet. Okay, let's move on for that one. The number 4 position. Now, a lot of us never thought that these players were going to go to the IPL. That these players were going to go to the. We thought that they were going to go to the IPL, and maybe we'll see some new guys get an opportunity, maybe in these positions, maybe like the Ryan Rickletons of the world. But unfortunately, they have not been selected in these squads. We have available what we have available. I'll put it on screen again. That number 4 position. It seems like currently Aiden Markram, Rassie van der Dussen are almost juggling that one between each other. Deciding who is going to take in that particular spot is important. Whether they are still seeing Aiden in that top order because of his bowling attributes. Verna, let me start with you. For that number 4-5 spot, do you go with Aiden and Rassie, or do you maybe look at a guy like Cal Verena, who's now got a test done? He's confident going forward, maybe bringing him into the attack as a batter alone and not as a keeper batter.
I wouldn't have picked Markram in the squad, to be honest. I don't think he's done enough in ODIs, and his form hasn't been good enough to make the side. But I think he is in the side because he does offer that 6th bowling option. So I can't see them dropping him now that they have picked him. But if they do play him, I just hope they bat Rassie at 4 and Markram at 5. Because we've seen how good Rassie and Temba combine together as a partnership. And I think Markram is more the guy that can come in and bring some impetus later in the match. If he is playing in the middle order, he could combine with Miller to give us a bit of a launch at the back end. So if they're going to play both of them, which I suspect they will, I'd prefer Rassie rather coming in at 4 and Markram at 5.
Justin, what I want to ask you is, being a coach, being a captain yourself, I want to ask you about that. For like, when players in your team, there's certain players that are obviously better at hitting the ball a long way and doing range hitting and smacking the ball, and then you've got a lot of guys that are stroke players, bat better maybe in power plays, etc., or they like to find the gaps, keep the ball on the ground, not try to clear fielders. But you have a batting lineup of your best batters. What happens, like for example, in this occasion, as a captain, how do players take it if you move them around in the order? For example, in a situation, I would maybe think of bringing Aiden in before Rassie if the situation is suited for him, when they need to score runs a lot quicker. Maybe bringing in Aiden would be smarter than bringing in Rassie at that moment. If they had a good start for that top 3, for example, or something like that. If they're in trouble, Rassie's ahead of Aiden, bringing it level, making sure that everything stays level. But according to match situations, when you need to score runs quickly, when you need to do that, does it happen often? Have you seen it happen often at the level that you play at? And also, how do players take it, knowing that you backing someone else to do a job over them?
End of the day, I feel every player deserves the opportunity to be backed and support, because that's the end of the day called being a team. A player or a coach or a captain will always know You'll always know what's your player's potential. You just remember, you spending more times behind the nets and behind the scenes than anybody else that we see it. So obviously there will be some form of backing. There will be some form of support. Then if you want to look at 4 and 5, it also depends on what type of game you want to play. How do you want to approach Bangladesh? I think what's nice of a team like Bangladesh, that even though you can't take them lightly, it's a good opportunity for Markram to make a name for himself. So, and find his form again. So how I would say is, let's reverse the question by saying, do you rather want Markram at 4? If he's struggling with form, you have someone down below the order that can try and save the match for you or try and rebowl the innings for you? Or do you want a guy that's going to rebowl the innings? Markram comes in at 5, he loses his wicket. Suddenly, Miller's under pressure, Becklacquire's under pressure, and in the naked eye, it looks Miller's at fault. It looks Becklacquire's at fault. Meanwhile, it's because your number 5 and 4 is very pivotal in any format of cricket. Doesn't matter if it's T20, Test cricket, or one day. So for me, it's important. If you're backing Markram, maybe put him at 4, and maybe just have Van Dussen, either he gets the reins to open up, or maybe just let. I don't say, and let's just or Van Dussen might have to rebuild the innings for South Africa. That's maybe just not a bad plan to work, and that's something as a captain I would back that situation.
Okay, so Aditya, you can go straight away, and if you want to add to that, I saw you nodding throughout Justin's talk, so I thought you'd go straight away.
Yeah, I agree completely. One thing is that perhaps with Aiden Markram, given that he's kind of low in confidence, it might just help him to be up the order a little bit. He might benefit from having a little more game time. And personally, I like to see, as much as I like to see Temba and Rassi play together, I also like to see Aiden and Rassi play together. I think they make a formidable partnership as well. And if Aiden has the license to hit his way out of bad form, then I don't think there's anything better than that for him at this point.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see where their mind is and what their thinking is. We do know a lot of people have asked um, about dropping Aiden. There have been a lot of people speaking about it with regards to ODIs and Test cricket. There's been a massive call for it, actually. Funny enough, amongst fans who not so far long ago, he was the golden boy of South African cricket, and everybody wanted him in the team, in every single team, in every format, even in mini cricket. So what we're going to be doing right now is we're going to be moving on. Maybe that we know that number 6 position is going to be David Miller's, if they're going to be picking. Although a lot of people might be wanting David Miller to actually bat further up the order. A lot of people have been asking for that. But if we are going to be picking both Markram and Rassi, then I'm seeing that number 6 position going to David Miller. What are your thoughts on David Miller currently, guys? Werner, we can start with you. What are your thoughts on David? Where do you stand with David? Just let him be. That spot's his, and just let him bat freely as best as possible. Or where do you stand with David?
He's still our best finisher, but I would still love him to bat higher up the order. He's a proper batsman, and we've seen what he's done at the Dolphins, coming in at 4. He can construct an innings and then be more destructive at the back end than he is now, even. So it's a tough one with Markram in the side. Miller will always be coming in at 6. I'd prefer him coming in at 5, but in the lineup as it is, he will bat at 6. That is a fact, and it's okay. It's okay as long as they lay a good platform for him. It's a bit frustrating if Miller comes in with 2 overs to go, then it's like a bit of a waste, really. He's a guy that can bat you 15, 20 overs and can get you 100 of 80 balls, and then even from there launch even more. So it feels like he's wasted a bit down at number 6, but it is what it is at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, with all the batting problems, etc., I think that top 6 seems to be pretty certain. It's that 7, 8 all-rounders positions that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to select for these matches. Of course, given the conditions, seamers are probably obviously going to be more involved over here to supposed to be. But according to the recent one day games and the games that we've seen at the Wanderers and Centurion, for example, and at Newlands, even. I mean, today's game, I was there, I was live, I was watching that wicket and I was confused. It wasn't necessarily what we've been seeing. Collapses all around the country, actually. So it's strange. You could possibly play two spinners, even though it is on a seamer conducive wickets that we've been known for the past. I think it could actually be conducive for X this spinner. But let's not be adventurous. Maybe not. This is not the show for that. Let them be adventurous if they think that's the case. That 7-8 position, is it straightforward? Do you guys want to see maybe someone like a Parnell given an opportunity, seeing that he's in the side right now? Because why else then put him in the squad if there's not going to be any game time for him to prove himself? I don't understand the selection then. But who wants to step in and talk about that?
I think this is an important series for Andile Beklubayo because he's quite impressive with the bat against the Netherlands, and in previous conversations about him, we've talked about his strike rate, particularly in the death overs, and that's where I think there is scope for Andile in this team. In saying that, there will be a debate between Pretorius and Andile in my view, because Pretorius is fast emerging, one of Temba's trusted death bowlers, whereas Andile is probably a middle overs bowler. Correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, so I think that's where there's going to be, a bit of debate in my view. I don't know what you guys think.
Go ahead, guys.
You can go, Justin.
I kind of agree to some extent. I just feel it's probably I think Peklakwaya and Maharaj is at the moment the favorite of taking 7-8 at the moment, because I do got the suspicion we're going to play two spinners and a part-time spinner in Markram, and I just don't see. I think Peklakwaya might play a very crucial part with the ball, and like what was said before, this is also a golden opportunity for him to try and find some form and rhythm and to really show his worth.
Yeah, I think it will probably be Andile 7-8 Maharaj or Rabada, whatever, but both will likely play. I do expect us to play both spinners just because Shamsi is our main spinner and Maharaj is our vice captain. So I can't see them not playing both, even though we are playing at the IFL. So I expect to see both of them in, both of Rabada and Ngidi, and then your all-rounder is a bit of a toss-up, but I expect it will probably be Andile.
Mm-hmm. Now, interesting, because that's going to say a lot about the team. It's going to say a lot about their thought processes. It's going to say a lot about what they're thinking, because picking Maharaj as a vice captain almost seems to be that you need to pick him because he's vice captain. But let's see what they think. Let's see what the thinking process is, because these wickets aren't the same. I would like to see how the Proteas go about and read it, because it's not the same as what we all are used to and what we expect. Oops. Let's remove that. Did nothing pop up on the screen now, right? Did it? No, nothing. Okay, cool. Sorry. It's going whack at the back over here. So I'm gonna have to delete some things because I want to upload something that I want to show you guys. Because I saw a question in the back end about the fitness requirements for the Proteas, and for some reason I cannot upload anything. Weird. I just want to show you guys what it had to say, so that you guys can read it with me. It's a little bit confusing, I would say. Yeah, I can't get it up. Sorry, guys. Oh, wait, that's not true. No, I'm joking. Very awkward. Anyway, so let's read this out quickly. It says over here that The CSA standard for men is one sub 8.30 for 2 kilometer time trial, plus three other tests. It says total score must be under 60%. I mean, so above 60%. Um, two, if below 9 minutes, 2 kilometer trial, granted 30-day probation to achieve standard. Return from injury under 9.15 and to achieve standard in 30 days. So that's basically what they need to do from a fitness perspective. Well, unfortunately, some players aren't meeting the requirements, but they're still playing domestically. So, do you want to talk about that quickly? Because I don't want to. It's obvious who the bowlers are going to be. I think for South Africa. So, I don't think it's necessarily going to need a massive discussion unless you guys want to really go into depth with it and talk about it. But I think let's move on to some of the players that maybe missed out that you thought, maybe would have been included in this particular series. Let's go Aditya, Justin, and Werner. Oh, I think you have Werner, Justin.
Uh, before we go into that, do we have any indication of what the fitness standard is for the domestic teams, and whether it's consistent with the national?
It's supposed to be consistent,
but it's not.
but it's not. Clearly, it's not. So either they are maybe just ignoring it, domestically, and just overlooking it. But only the players that are Proteas players are getting picked out. Like, for certain players that maybe are not meeting the requirements, maybe they overlook it because they're not making it to the Proteas. So they maybe just overlook it. I don't know if that's true. I'm just making an assumption because there's no way, if it's the same, there's no way that someone like Sasanda Magala can fail a fitness test and then a day later play. Like, it absolutely makes no sense. So, it's supposed to be consistent, but clearly it isn't. So, yeah, it's crazy.
What was the question again?
I can't even remember now.
I think those were the bowlers, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I said let's move past the bowlers, and I said who are maybe some of the guys that you think on the fringes could have made the side, that maybe didn't, the squad at least.
Is
Stop.
Lizard Williams?
Bolden, Duck, Inswinger, Mitchell Stark. Almost like Levy went out today. Yes, so it was a massive delivery, first ball. Anyway,
Yeah, I think. Well, Sasanda Magala would have been in the squad, I believe, had he cleared his fitness test. I don't know, but I think generally he's someone that you want to see playing as often as possible because he appears to be the kind of bowler who thrives on rhythm, on game time. Um, I'm a fan of Lizard Williams, and I liked what he's done so far in international cricket. So yeah, I think these are the individuals that I would pick for sure. And I think, yeah,
you know what I want to see, and I want to see some bravery in selections. Like, I know maybe I'll never get my way, but I was chatting a little bit. There were some people there that at the game at the ground that I listen to what they're saying and try to get an insight into what they're thinking. But Tristan Stubbs for me should be the next in line behind David Miller. I think that is almost a direct replacement for David. Plus, Tristan can bowl a little bit, so it adds even more value to his wicket. I would like to see guys like him get opportunities as backups to the main guys, because rather integrate them into the system earlier and let them get an opportunity. But then again, when you look at the system and the way sometimes we completely run away and give people opportunities in the national setup too early. Like we were looking at the stats on TV today with Vian Mulder, who scored 100 today, and we looked at it and it was like 20 odd matches, and his first ever 100. But yet, if you look at the amount of games he's played for South Africa, it's like way more than his domestic level. So that means that obviously he fast tracked into the national side before he even had any domestic experience really. So 20 odd games for his first maiden century in limited over cricket, and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, that's crazy. Here we calling for a guy to we're calling for guys to get into the national side before they have actually had any experience domestically. So it is interesting to see, but with certain guys, maybe that is required. And at this point, I think Tristan Stubbs has played 2 T20 competitions where he showed what he's capable of. He's now going over into the 50 over comp. He's done it maybe a little bit in the 4-day series. He's now coming into the 50 over comp. He's going to show his ability maybe in this tournament too. Surely sooner or later they're going to have to bring him as a backup in that number 6. We've been looking for a finisher for the national side for some time now. Isn't that just the perfect replacement right now? Why not give a guy like him maybe an opportunity instead of someone that's maybe not ever going to play for the South Africa? Yeah, open floor discussion here, guys. If we were at the table and having a couple of Cokes, because I can't drink alcohol, then we could be this is this type of conversation tonight.
If it were up to me, I would have Tristan Stubbs in the side. I would personally play him in place of Markram and then bring him in at 6 and move Miller up to 5. So I would have Quentin de Kock and Janneman opening, Temba, Rassi, Miller, Tristan Stubbs. And Tristan Stubbs might give you 4 or 5 overs just turning over his arm with the ball. He might not even be required in some matches if you're all-rounder balls, all tennies overs. That's the way I would have actually gone. I know that's not the way they will go right now, but that's where I am. In terms of guys who missed out, so yeah, obviously Magala is probably the main one, but we know it's due to fitness or the not passing the fitness requirements. Then it's probably Lazard Williams, as Aditya said, and Darren de Pavlon. Those are probably the 2 bowlers on the fringes. And then batting, definitely Ryan Rickleton. He is also in and around. He's been with the squad, hasn't gotten game time. So those are probably all the players that just missed out.
Sorry, I just saw a comment here. Khalid, I think you meant Pepsi. I better not say. I like. I like both equally. Actually, if I think about it, if you're gonna compare it, I like both equally. It's like they both taste differently. I don't know if you guys think the same thing, but yeah, if Ronaldo had to hear that, you'll disown me. You can't pick Coco.
Nah, I'd pick the green smoothie from Labelle, my friend.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I mean, in this match, the Proteas players that have spoken ahead of the series, the Proteas players that have spoken so far look very confident. Lungingiri, Dwayne Pretorius, captain. The captain must still speak behind you. So we must hear what he has to say directly to us. But the people that have spoken seem pretty confident, and there was talk about maybe a 3-0 here. From Lungingiri's interview, at least, that's what I got out of it. 3-0's the aim. What do we have to do, Werner? Do you play your own game, focus on your own game here? Or do you look at the opposition and try to outwit them? Or is there... How would you like to see South Africa approach this particular ODI series?
Yeah, no, you just play your own game. If all our players play to the best of their abilities, we should definitely beat Bangladesh comfortably. Obviously, you'd never underestimate any team, and Bangladesh have shown to be quite a good ODI team in particular. And their spinners, Maria's son, is very impressive all-round player. Obviously, Shakib Al Hasan. They have a bunch of good players, but if man to man, we should be better if we play to our abilities. And obviously, if you want to win a series, you want to bat well, bowl well, field well. So you'd like to have a good opening partnership, and can't think of a much better opening partnership than Malan and Quinny when they're in form. We have the solid players in Temba and Rassi in the middle order. We have Markram and Miller who can eat some lassie blows with Pretorius or Andile. Maharaj has shown what he can do with the bat. Rabada has shown with that quick fire 40 odd against New Zealand what he can do with the bat. So batting should be sorted, and bowling as well. I mean, KG, Ngidi, Shamsi, Maharaj. That's a solid 40 overs you have there, and then 10 overs between Andile and Markram. It should be all fine. We beat India 3-0, so there should be no excuse to not beat Bangladesh 3-0 as well, even if Bangladesh play well.
Justin, when you're looking at an opposition team, trying to beat an opposition team, how much times do you actually look at the opposition and say, you need to be wary of this player, bowl getting plans to that player, this player, that, or do you just go ahead and say, look, yeah, I'm going to trust my own game. We're going to trust our own game, and if we stick to our game plan, we will win this game. What is the approach, generally speaking?
I like to. There's an old philosophy with soccer coach Jose Mourinho used to say years ago, and I apply it to any opposition we play. Is where he says, when you're analyzing any opposition, anyone, you go and you say, you look at what our strengths are, you look at the opposition's strengths are, because every team will have their own certain strengths, what will be placed onto the table. But then you must ask yourself: is how can Bangladesh hurt us? What is their key threats to us? And once you start understanding what they're bringing to the table and what they can do to hurt us, only then can you analyze how can you hurt them. What is your strengths against their strengths? Whose weaknesses has a better chance of being minimized? Because that's what it's about. Any international sport, cricket specifically, it's about this. They will speak about the small margins. There's margin for error in international cricket. So that to me speaks about, if I know I got two top spinners where India might, no, sorry, not India, Bangladesh might bring one, then it might be a strength. It might be a weakness. But how I would analyze is there a way to minimize. And then as a captain, I like to go when we're playing a semi-final on Saturday. So what I like to do is I look at my opposition. I know XYZ and ABC. There's been numerous encounters with them, bat and ball. I know what the outcome is. Because especially international cricket, you got all this. Remember, they got all the statistics in front of him. As in, how many times did Rabada get the Bangladeshis out? Who was the most successful the last series? Who looks more threatening? Some of them might not like anything short or back of a length. So who's more likely to bowl back of the length? If there's some who doesn't like the in swinger, then who's the in swinger? If some of the Bangladeshi bowlers don't like someone like a Miller, so then how do you take Miller and take him to a full advantage for the team?
Because Aditya, when I look at that and listen to Justin and thinking about that, analyzing, most of the guys that we interview and talk about, when we ask them about stats, we don't tend to get the answer that we thought we are going to get. So, do you think that a lot of teams probably focus on their own game more than actually looking at the opposition?
To a certain degree, yes, but I also think that over time, players sort of figure out how they process information, and I'm not sure a lot of players like too much information. They would like to have that instinctive brand of cricket that, like that Timber talks about, that Dean talks about. Um, and virtually every single player, I think apart from Dwayne Pretorius, every single player that we've interviewed has said that they don't look at data analysis too much, or they don't really, formulate uh, formulate extensive plans. So yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating to see how they do that. And we've also talked to an analyst, Kyle Southgate, who is obviously incredibly talented and knows what he's talking about. But again, it's more like, if you're interested, you want to know more, then you're more than welcome to come. But otherwise, do as you feel. So yeah, I don't know how they approach it.
Yeah. Interesting. We're gonna have to wait and see. I'm excited about that. Let's just move on quickly, guys, from the Proteas men, and let's just talk a little bit about the women. Massive game again. Good record in the last 5 games against New Zealand. At least South Africa have had some great results against New Zealand, so they're not going to go into this with that mentality that they probably would have maybe saw creep in against England, knowing that England was a team that they really struggled against. I think they'll feel a lot more comfortable, a lot more confident going into New Zealand. I just hope that they don't get too complacent here, though, and I hope this is the game where they turn, where they when they don't really make much mistakes. I'm hoping to see a pretty much a good, decent performance from everybody that should be putting in performances. Hopefully, this can be the the game that turns their form around, particularly like of Lazali, um, um, as well as Brits, Mignon Dupree. We would like to see their form now turn around, and so that they can be ready for those games against like Australia and India. If we're gonna make it to the final semi-finals, of course we want to get to keep playing our we want to be playing our best cricket by the time we get to the knockout stages. So let's get your thoughts on the women. Let's go right around. I'm gonna start with you, Werner. We can go to Aticha and then we can go to Justin. Just your thoughts on the women, maybe a little message to them, etc.
Yeah, I agree. I'd love to see the batters who hasn't stepped up yet really make a name for themselves, or make themselves be counted in the team. I'm sure they want to step up now. We are 3 games into this World Cup, two warm up games as well, and Tasman Brits hasn't quite got going yet. We know how destructive she can be. She just needs to get going with that strike rotation a bit more. She's had a lot of dots, over 100 dots in this tournament so far. So she just needs to get 1 or 2 more away in an over for a single, and she'll be good to go. Mignon Priya, we expect a lot more of her. Obviously, she's played for the Proteas for so long. Plenty of experience. She was our captain previously, so we expect a lot more than single-digit scores. So I'm sure she as well. She'll want to step up, and obviously Lazali coming back after COVID, and then her baby being born, and everything, and now 2 matches in, she'll want to contribute heavily. We know how potent our opening partnership is between Lee and Wolfhard, so them setting a platform is key to us making bigger scores, because we haven't made any big scores so far. Yes, we did manage to chase down to 35 to 36, which was a great effort, and I enjoyed it, and I think that'll be a big confidence booster, chasing that against England. If we do bat first again, I feel like we need to be aiming at least 250. We can't settle for 220 anymore. If you look at the likes of Australia, obviously they're the best in the world, and they're like the trendsetters, but they'll consistently score more than 280. So I don't think we can settle for 220. So we need to really stamp our authority with the bat. Great to see Marazan Cup contributing all round. Shipnam Ismail, Ayabonga Kaka, always a banker. So I think our bowling lineup looks pretty good. Masabata Klaas was also very good in the last game. It was good to see her really coming into her own there. We can even consider playing another spare, Slaba, or whoever they feel would be the right fit. I think it wouldn't be a bad option. But seeing as if we've won 3 out of 3, I don't expect any changes. So I think it should be a good game against New Zealand. I believe they would have had to play the qualifiers for the World Cup if they weren't the hosts. So we shouldn't be too afraid of them. Obviously, still not underestimate any team, but we really should be good enough to beat them, and I believe we are. We have the all-round team to do it, and I'm actually already looking forward to that Australia match, because I think we are the team right now who have the best chance of possibly beating Australia.
I was just laughing at this comment here. Did England beat India this morning? Nope. India lost to England. I'm sorry. I just found it fascinating. A teacher.
Yeah, it was a bit of a disaster for us, to to collapse the 134 all out, I believe. And yeah, I guess the bowlers did their best to get us back into the game, and I think they took 6 to 7 wickets. But if I mean now in retrospect, you think about it, another 30 runs, and anything could have happened. But yeah, not ideal for the Indians. It's been kind of up and down, where they've been able to put up some dominant performances, but then on other days they've been completely blown away, and hopefully they'll learn in the next games. But speaking of the South Africans, exciting contest there. Um, One thing that seems to be, I don't think it's a matter of concern, but perhaps it's something that I'm sure the batting group will address is the number of dot balls, the strike rate. Um, because you have, I think the last game you have batters 3 and 5 scoring at strike rates of 50 and thereabouts, and I think that poses problems because you know I think the team does need a little bit more aggression towards the back end. You need someone to really you know take the game away from the opposition. Just nail it in. And I don't think that's there at the moment, but I think once that is, we're going to go from 240 to 280 or 290.
Justin?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I just want to ask you about the Proteas women, what you've been proud about watching them play, as well as what you're hoping for in the match against New Zealand, which will kick off at 3 a.m. South African Standard Time.
What I like about this women's team is you can clearly see they're playing as a unit. They're playing with a common goal. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone knows what they need to do to be successful or to progress to the next round. I do feel there is some hiccups along the way, but looks you got 100% record at the moment, so that's only healthy. That only means you're having a good World Cup so far. I just would like to see a lot those that hasn't been doing well just to start coming into the party. Also, I think that would be a massive boost, a massive help. But I don't see us changing the team too much. I just think the women's team is just in a very good space at the moment. You can clearly see that. You can clearly see they are being well conditioned at the moment. And again, like I said before, they're just very, very motivated. And that's always healthy in any cricket team, is to have a side that's very motivated and hungry for success. You can clearly see it. So I think for a South African perspective, we can only hope that they go all the way, because you can see that hunger. You can see that they want to. They want to win the event. They want to do well. They make the country proud. And I think that's what makes it exciting. But then we all know any World Cup or any event, it's only going to get harder as it goes on, because the pressure becomes more, the expectations becomes more. And that's where it's going to be exciting, because we know any Southern cricket unit, we have what we call the choking tag. And I think a lot of it is caused because I feel we're allowing ourselves to get away with all the expectations and allowing this, we get lost with this massive burden of expectations.
I'd just like to add two things more about the women's game. Firstly, I hope Ishmael's toe is all right to continue bowling throughout this tournament. I hope they'll be able to manage it well, because she's a very vital part of our attack. And secondly, I hope they start hitting the stumps, because we've missed multiple run-out opportunities in this tournament. They've been taking tip and run type of singles against us, and we've continually missed the stumps. And we could have been in even better positions in the matches that we did play if we'd taken all our opportunities.
100% true. The fielding in general in South Africa hasn't been the same standard as we used to across the board, domestically as well as women's cricket at the moment. Sometimes in the men's team you'll see a little bit of wobbles, but not as much. At least not as much. But recently there was quite a few. But we're hoping that it will ease up. We'll get a lot better. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this preview. Don't forget to smash the like button. Don't forget to comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. But also don't forget to go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your updates. That's the link right there on the screen. There should be a link in the description as well for that. And download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free. All back issues included. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. Also become a patron. The link is on the screen, description too. You will really help us out a hell of a lot if you want to join the Patreon club. So please go ahead and do so too. It will help us as well as Cricket Fanatics Magazine team. To all the guys that came and joined us, thanks a lot. Aditya, Werner, Justin, thanks you for coming on the show. And we'll see you guys all again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.